I feel very confident that the team at Maui Memorial has both the supplies it needs and the personnel it needs to do an excellent job if one of our citizens does test positive for COVID-19. I'm also very confident that they have the lines of communication open so that if they need extra materials, extra service lines, they can not only rely on the vibrant team that they have and partners they have with Kaiser, both on Oahu and on the mainland, but throughout the state. Today was about getting our healthcare perspective from all of our providers here in the community and seeing the facility, and I'm very pleased with both. The community came out in droves and asked the right questions. We can come back with answers for them and be supportive, but the hospital has a great ER and a great intensive care unit with the right beds for the time being. If we have an incredible surge of COVID-19, which we're hoping we will not have, then every hospital in the state will be taxed. But Maui is well prepared and ready, so I don't want people to worry. What I've been telling people is if you're going to go to a large event, don't go if you're sick. That's the most important thing. Whether you're sick with a cold or the flu, which are the most common things, please don't go because we don't want to risk spreading that to other people who are well. We don't know for sure that we don't have any COVID-19 in our midst. There have been people that have come from cruise ships and other parts of the country where there's been disease. It's possible it's spread. We have not seen a surge in our intensive care unit to my knowledge, so we're not seeing the severe cases that would tell me we kind of have a canary in the coal mine of this disease, but I'm still telling people just don't go if you're sick. Now, we're not canceling major events unless people are inordinately spooked right now. Most people who are canceling events are canceling them because there's just going to be too few people that are going. There's been less travel. There is a disincentive to have an event if it's going to only have 20% of the regular attendance. So that's something to consider. Of course, we're telling people to not travel to the areas of highest concern. People cannot travel to China. They cannot travel to Italy right now. We'd ask people not to go to South Korea if they don't have to. If you are sick, if you're very sick, you're having shortness of breath, that's when you come to the hospital. You got high fevers. Fever is the number one symptom of COVID-19. Then comes cough and then shortness of breath. If you have shortness of breath and high fever, that's when you are seen at the hospital. If you're just feeling a little bit under the weather, if you have a cold symptoms, flu symptoms, call your healthcare provider. We're in the process of setting up some additional ways to screen people, probably through outpatient settings where people can quickly go and get a quick screening now that we have the private sector doing tests. We want to make it easy for people, but I want to reassure them we only have 2 cases right now. That could change. There are 4 people being checked right now for potential illness, but there's still just a very small number as compared to much of the rest of the world. So we're doing pretty well, and we're trying to make sure things go slowly, even if we're going to ultimately have more cases. A lot of the healthcare providers in the community shared with me what the Oahu community shared earlier today and what the Kauai community shared this weekend, which was they would like to have some available screening mechanism outside of the offices away from population centers. Probably a tent where we can do quick screening. Now that the private tests can be availed, we do that with experts that can quickly do the swab, which is a nasal swab deep into the sinus, get that swab and make sure someone does not have COVID-19. We still would need an order from a physician, so it's not just a drive-through. It is you talk to your healthcare provider, they order it, and then you go get the test. But that's the process I think that they recommended, and that's why I'm here. I'm taking these pieces of information back to the leadership in the Department of Health and the governor, so they can know in person, from the personal interchanges what our docs need.